This is insane. So they are giving us a 2-week trial of a dragon mount, which is crazy, bro, because it seems like they may be testing to see how flying in this game can kind of affect the game, right? And I think that having a flying mount would be freaking dope. All right, so the 2024 Black Desert Online Fiesta or Calpheon Ball, whatever they're naming it now, just happened. And I think overall it seems like a decent direction. I mean, there are a few things that I was a little bit disappointed on or concerned on, which I'll talk about that kind of towards the end of the video. And I'm not going to talk about everything that was like introduced or talked about, but just kind of the main points that I think is important. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which was Jay was not there. And they introduced a new guy. So that's very, very interesting. Like, did Jay actually get fired or is he in another role for the company? So yeah, I was very surprised when he wasn't on the stage. And I think that really kind of set the tone of the presentation. So let's take a look at it. All right. So first up, which I'm not going to go like in particular order. I might be kind of jumping around, but they released the new class trailer and it kind of looks nuts, especially with the rocket launcher webbing, which I was not expecting that at all. And it is American themed. So yeah, I mean, really cool. It does seem kind of slow with some of its abilities, but we won't really know until, it comes out here in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, I can't really main female classes because it just kind of breaks my own immersion. So probably a hot take here, but I wish it would have been a male class since we already have way more female classes than male classes. I mean, I understand why, right? I definitely understand why there are more female classes because of costumes and whatnot. But either way, the class looks really cool. I'll probably still check it out. I don't know if I'll be able to actually main it because I've never been able to main a female class. So, but looks really cool. Next year, they are allowing tag characters to have the option of being able to be at different locations, which is super nice. Especially if you want to keep like one character, at the Land of the Morning Light and your tagged character at, say, like Underground Gyphon, right? You'll be able to do that now. They also reduced the amount needed to tag a character, which is even better, right? So they're going from the max of, I think it's 450 Marnie fuel, I think, to a max of 45 Marnie fuel. So I believe it's like 4.5 billion now to like 450 million. Hopefully my numbers are correct on that. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think it's going from like pretty much 4.5 billion all the way down to 450 million. So that's a huge difference. Now I do wish that they would have just made it free or maybe have like the max of like 100 million, but either way, super positive change, great direction. All right, next here. So for new players, they talked about changing the gear aspect in the season servers, right? So Tuvala gear, pretty much going from like pin or level 5 to deck or level 10 and being able to exchange like one per account, but being able to exchange for a pin black star once you reach that deck level of enhancement, and then a Tet Khazard accessory. Also, they're going to be giving more fail stacks and increasing the ability to level up faster, and also allowing new players to kind of start to be able to grind their infinite potion sooner by giving them materials once they complete the season server, which that can be kind of exchanged towards the infinite potion pieces. So probably another hot take, but in my opinion, I don't really care too much about giving newer players a quicker way of getting gear. And, I think with the most recent gear upgrades with the new accessories and with the new weapons, it was probably bound to happen anyway. So yeah, I have, I guess, 730-ish gear score, right? I've been playing since 2016, and I don't really care too much as a veteran player. I encourage the newer players to be able to kind of jump into the game and kind of get started much quicker. Also on the season server, they're going to be pretty much giving away up to 3,000 Caphras, which most likely will go on the market, right? Dropping those prices significantly, which again is to help those new players kind of get to Caphra level 10 in order to be able to kind of upgrade their gear quicker. So yeah, I think it's a good change, for the new players, but for the veteran players, right, they may feel like their gear is getting a little bit less kind of irrelevant. So I could definitely see that argument, but again, for me, I don't really care. I think it's good. Next, they talked about life scaling, right? So changing mastery from 2K to 3K, and then making new life scaling accessories all the way up to deck, adding new life scaling items for hunting, fishing, cooking, and alchemy, and also buffing horse training, and adding a new system called auto sailor fishing, which does seem really interesting. But even with these changes, I think a lot of the life skills still need a rework and a buff. Like the AFK fishing buff that they released a few weeks ago is kind of busted, but at least it makes it a viable option, right? And I think other than like the AFK fishing and sniper rifle hunting and the land of the morning light, all of the other life skills are just kind of irrelevant, right? Now, maybe having 3K mastery will change the money per hour, but just kind of looking at the chart that they provided, it doesn't really seem like you're getting much bang for your buck. They did say that they were going to continue to improve on life skills, so we'll just have to hope and take their word on that, and that they continue to buff life skills and kind of rework them. Next year, they mentioned that we're finally going to be getting the 4th dungeon, or Zeka, with the trash mobs kind of working like a traditional monster zone. Like they kind of vaguely talked about it. I don't know, we'll need to get more info on it, but the only negative that I see for this is that the requirement is needing at least 350 AP, which is insane. Like not that many people in the game even have 350 AP. So I wish the requirement would drop a little bit lower to like maybe 320, 330 AP. So it's a little bit more obtainable. They did say that they're going to be adding a new grinding zone in the Land of the Morning Light with a unique mechanic where once enough energy is stored, then the golden pig statue will start to like release coins, where it sounds like kind of anyone can pick them up off the ground for more money. So kind of like a lottery system, maybe. They also did say that they're going to be finally adding the Calamity 8, 9, and 10, which is good because I feel like that's been a while now since they last kind of spoke on that. Like, I can't remember. When was the last time that they said they were going to add 8, 9, and 10? I think it was last year's ball. So yeah, they said they're going to be finally adding that in. So we'll see. So, again, good changes, right? All right. So this is a big one here. So they're going to be actually adding snowboarding into the game, which I don't know, if you've been following this game for a while, if you're a veteran, a few years ago, they did speak about adding snowboarding into the game, but it got canceled. But yeah, it seems like it's actually going to be implemented this time, and it's going to be part of the winter event. I think in January is what they said that the winter event's going to happen, I think, which is kind of odd. Like you think it would have already happened like here and like within the week or so, but yeah, I think it's January. I will say the costumes though look pretty dope. So yeah, that'll be kind of cool to try that out. Next year, they showed a new T9 horse called the Voltaren. I believe I'm saying that right, which has like a lightning effect, which looks super amazing. And it's only obtainable by completing certain content. At least that's what they said, which I think is a massive W. I guess we'll get more details on, how we can unlock that and, the difficulty level of getting it. But I think it's a great idea. So I can't wait to try to unlock it because, me personally, I'm not really into like horse training or enhancing horses, right? Like I've never attempted to try to get a T10, which, by the way, we are getting a free T10, which again is massive, especially for players like me who don't like to horse train, right? So super, super hyped that I'm actually going to be getting a T10 now. They also mentioned an idea of like potentially combining all three of the T10s into just like one horse, which again, I think that's a great idea. So hopefully they do end up doing that. All right, so save the best for last. PvP changes. Now, this was an interesting aspect of the presentation, right? One of the guys spoke on how PvP is important, right? Important part of the game, and how, it ties into the end game and all of the memories that were created with like the declaration system and the open world PvP, and how, they made a big decision last year to kind of change it. And it really seemed that, the way he was talking, that some of those changes were going to be reverted back, but that really wasn't the case, but more so that they will continue to try to improve on the PvP aspect. Woo! Like it was this huge buildup and then just nothing really happened. Now, I will say though, that they did eventually, like later in the presentation, kind of talk about Demon Land, which, he probably should have probably talked about this like right after his speech. But anyway, essentially Demon Land, they said it's going to be really focused on like kind of like an open world PvP aspect. And essentially you can become a lord of that area, after reaching certain objectives. And then you can kind of kill players without losing karma, which, sounds really cool. Sounds like a really good idea. Really kind of good way to bring back that open world PvP aspect. Also, they mentioned that you can be able to collect taxes from people. So yeah, seems like a really unique system, right? And maybe that the new region is kind of their way of introducing again that open world PvP back into the game. Unfortunately, it seems like we'll probably have to wait another 4 to 6 months for this to release, potentially, maybe even longer, right? So that's kind of a bummer. Other PvP content that they talked about was like removing resistance in PvP and keeping it only in PvE, which I think is a huge W considering the amount of protections classes have. So when you do land a CC and it got resisted, it just felt terrible, right? It just felt terrible. So yeah, I think that will be a good change. And they said they're going to release that on Global Labs first and get people's input. So hopefully they do follow through with that. I think it will be a better direction for the game in terms of PvP. They talked about adding, the hardcore server into the game, which I feel like they've been talking about this for a while now. I think they said they're going to release it in January, and it actually is different now, which I think their original idea that they showed us at the last ball or 2 balls ago of the whole hardcore server aspect, I think that idea that they had was probably going to flop, right? But I think the way that they redesigned it is much better. And they're also adding a PvE element to it, right? So that's a W. So I think it's going to be a good addition to the game. And they said that it's going to have elements of Shadow Arena in it. So that's good. They said there's going to be like kind of different bosses spawning around the map to kill for, points. And if you kill players, you also get points. So like there's like this whole point system. And yeah, it seems that it will be pretty fun. And I'll be kind of excited to try it out and see how it actually is. Maybe a kind of a cool idea to incorporate into this would be the ability to unlock that new T9 horse that they mentioned, right? So you have to play on this server and maybe reach a certain milestone, and then you're able to unlock that cool lightning T9 horse. That'd be kind of cool. So just a thought. They are apparently increasing the rewards for Red Battleground, and they're also changing it to a matchmaking system. So that's good. Arena of Solaire will also now have like a replay function on like previous matches, so you can watch back your own matches or your friend matches. So that's a positive change. There were some Node War changes, such as stats being unified, the castle gate time kind of being removed, and then the time limits being set to 2 hours, which I think those are all kind of good changes. They showed the Black Dragon mount again, which is like, this is the third time that they've showed it at each ball. But again, it does look pretty insane, right? But unfortunately, it's going to be very, very limited on who can actually use it. So I'll probably never be able to use it, which kind of sucks. However, this is insane. So they are giving us a 2-week trial of a dragon mount, which is crazy, bro, because it seems like they may be testing to see how flying in this game can kind of affect the game, right? And I think that having a flying mount would be freaking dope, right? So I'm really hoping that they get good data on this and that flying can be permanent. Okay, just make it permanent. That'd be so cool. Like, that was probably the most hype aspect of the presentation for me, was the 2-week flying mount. Like, I really, really hope that everyone like enjoys it, you know, and it's not like glitchy or anything like that. And PA is like, I think we should add this into the game. I think you should, PA, add this into the game. So yeah, we have some good content on the way, and they are also giving us a lot of free stuff, free rewards, which honestly, this might be the most like free stuff we've ever gotten for a ball. And I'm also finally getting a T10, which is super hype. I will say though that there was a few things that I was disappointed on. So they didn't really talk about Mountain of Eternal Wind Part 2 with the 100 floor dungeon. So, you know, I thought that was kind of odd that there was just like nothing mentioned about it at all, which actually that was supposed to be released first, then the Demon Land expansion. I'm assuming maybe because of the huge loss of the PvP players, you know, over the past year, they shifted their main focus kind of on the Demon Land now, with the emphasis on PvP, right, rather than focusing on the Mountain of Eternal Wind Part 2, you know, which with me being a PvP player, you know, I'm totally fine with them kind of pivoting to that. I just wish they were a little bit more open about that, right? A little bit more communication on yeah, you know, we're still working on the Mountain of Eternal Part 2. However, we kind of thought that Demon Land should be our main emphasis because of the whole PvP aspect. Like, I wish they would have just kind of speaked on that. But I'm assuming that's probably why. I was also hoping for kind of more bigger news or changes on like Node Wars, right? I mean, they mentioned a few small changes, but nothing really the PvP community was hoping for, which hopefully, you know, they have something that they're working on and something that can be released soon, because if we have to wait, you know, until another ball happens, that just won't be good for the game. And yeah, you know, I just kind of disappointed on those kind of two aspects. I would love to know kind of what happened to Jay. So hopefully there's some more news that come out on like where he was at. But let me know down in the comments on, you know, your thoughts on this ball. Were you happy, mad, sad, surprised? You know, did you think this ball was a letdown? Also, what do you think of Jay not being there? Is that positive, negative for the game? And what do you think about being able to fly in Black Desert Online for 2 weeks? I am super hyped for that, and I really, really, really hope it becomes permanent. But With all of that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Just trying to push out content once or twice a week. And so your support really means a lot. So I really, really thank you. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Sunsets on black desert sky. It's just you and I.